What's up, fight fans? We are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. What the? You guys hear my sound effects? I finally got these things working. What's up, people? Let's get it popping here at Round One Sports Talk, where the wall fights start. You know it. Let's sound that bell off. We're going to get it started here. We got a lot to talk about. I want to talk about Xander Zayes and where his future lays from here. And is Xander right now the leading boxer for Puerto Rican boxing right now? Um, you know, you also got fighters like uh, Collazo, which has two belts, but real low weight division. I'm curious. I want to know what you guys think. And have you guys written off Berlanga? You know, a lot of people are giving Berlanga a lot of criticism, rightfully so. Let's find out where Berlanga, ends up. So we got a lot to talk about. So tune in, lock in. I'm gonna drop the the link in the chat, and we can talk a little bit of boxing. Let's go, people. What's up, guys? So let me know that you guys can hear me loud and clear, seeing that I am going through some system, a little system thing here, where that everything got set on my devices. So I had to figure this out. I had to figure out how to put back my sound. I had to figure out how to do all that. You know what I mean? So I got it all back up and working. Everything seems to be uh, so far the auto interface with my buttons and stuff and the computer, it's all coming together. It's all working right there. So let me test one more thing out here. Hold on. Yo, all right. So I put in the back screen and everything, what I want to have put in and stuff. So we have a lot to talk about here. In the last video that I made, I was talking about Xander Zayes and all the criticism that he was receiving, being the newly acquired 154-pound champion for the WBO. And an interesting belt on top of that. The WBO is represented by Puerto Rico itself, and a Puerto Rican champion, a Puerto Rican fighter happens to have that belt. There's a lot of, in the history, a lot of Mexican fighters have fought for the WBC world title. And rightfully so, the WBC has made their mark in boxing. So the WBO, until that fight with Bernard Hopkins and Oscar de la Hoya that took place in Las Vegas, until that fateful night, that the WBO wasn't recognized in the sport of boxing as a major world title. All the way up until that night that the WBO was in attendance in that fight where all the belts were on the line, the WBO got its notoriety and its acceptance in the sport. Other belts like the IBO, the European title, is trying to make their way, which is this belt right here, right? So in an era where, belts, what are belts? Belts are, what makes a belt powerful What makes the belt so powerful are the women, the men and women that hold them. Whatever champion has your belt and represents your organization to like that, and they dominate, the organization has the right to say they have the strongest champion. Even though in the boxing world, we as fans, what do we ask for? We're constantly asking for unifications. We want to see the champions fight the champions to know who is the best champion. But the organizations don't always want to do that. They don't want to sacrifice their champion if they don't believe that their guy is really going to win. Why sacrifice their cash cow, the guy that they're promoting as their front runner in whatever division we're talking about? You understand? That's what makes the belts powerful, are the men that wear them. When you see the WBC, who in the like the 90s and the early 2000s, who was the man that took the WBC world title to a new level? Who is the fighter that took that green belt? Oh, you can see him. He's right over my shoulder. You see it for yourself. How many green belts? He has 4 of them right there, right? And he keeps bringing him to the ring because what do you see? You see all the belts he continuously keeps winning throughout divisions. And what are they? It happens to be the WBC world title. Is it a coincidence? No. The WBC World Organization did business with Mayweather. And they stayed on Mayweather's good side. And they say, Mayweather, if you're going to go up throughout divisions, why don't you fight for our belt? We'll give you a shot. That's why, because of men like that held that belt, that's why the belt is so prominent and so powerful in your eyes. But that's why the organizations don't want to put their fighters against the other one. It doesn't benefit them if he has all 3 belts. You see, the WBC does not give 2 shits what the WBA is doing, what the IBF is doing, and what the WBO is doing. You think the WBC is proud that now their guy is unified? He's got 3 of the belts now. You think the WBC is happy that he has 3 belts? No, now the WBC got to get in bed with the WBA and the WBO, let's just say. Because we'll say he has 3 belts, not all 4, right? The Superman don't want to fucking answer to the WBA and all these dudes. They just want one guy representing their belt. All the belts are trying to make their organization the most powerful, the strongest. Like if you come to the WBO, we make real champions, is what they're saying. What they're saying is, if you go to the WBA, you're a joke. The WBA's ranking system is a joke. The WBA champions are jokes. That's what the WBO is saying. That's what the WBC is saying. And that's what the IBF is saying. Now, the WBA is saying that about them. You understand? And what they're trying to prove, they have the best champion. What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Salute, guys. Frontline, I threw the link in the chat, but I think this is the old link. I'm gonna drop it anyway. I like you guys come up, share a few words. Tell me what you guys think about Xander Zayes and his position at the top in the game right now. Where does he go from here? What would you like? What would be enough for you? Like in a good world, who would you like to see him fight his first title defense? Do you want to just throw this young man in once again into the fire? Straight away, fight a champion. If that's what's going to please you? Or does Xander now have to protect the kingdom that he's building? Xander can move out through divisions. He's big enough. I think he can move up to 160, become a WBO champion there, represent the WBO again. And the WBO, I want to remind you guys, it is the only belt that you can challenge the existing champion in the weight division above you or below, right? You can become their mandatory. Once all obligation is taken care of by the champion above you, you could simply find all of that out with one phone call. Call the WBO. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, is he all set with his met? Check it out. Send him the paperwork. Let him know I'm going to be his new mandatory. He's going to have to fight me. And the WBO will work with Xander. It's a very good belt to have. A very good belt. And that's why I bring this up. Like, hey, Frontline, what's up, brother? Let me drop you in here. How you doing, Frontline?
What's up, man?
Welcome. Yeah, and it's a very good belt, the WBO belt, to have. I think it's a great organization. I think that sky's the limit for Xander. And what I wanted to talk about was these claims that the boxing world is already making that he's the weakest link at 154. And I beg to differ. I don't think he's the weakest champion. I actually think he's the best boxer we have at 154. I didn't say the best power puncher. I didn't say the unique abilities like Sebastian Fundora, what the puzzle that he brings to the table. I didn't say anything about that. And I didn't say that he could just beat any of the guys because he's the best boxer. No. But when we think about boxing and we think about the dance, the way it's performed, right? Your technique, your footwork, your all-around assessment. Honestly, ask yourselves right now this one question. You mean to tell me that Murtayev is a better boxer than Xander? Or Sebastian Fundora, is he a better boxer than Xander? And now we're not talking about Terrence Crawford in the division because although his name is still registered there, we all know what Mr. Terrence is up to and what he's doing. So he doesn't count. He doesn't count. And neither am I talking about anybody in the ranking system like your Virgil Ortiz's of the division. No, I'm just talking about champions because they're calling him the weakest link of the champions. That's what they're saying. So I'm comparing him to the champions. And I don't see how he's the weakest link.
Well, here's the food for thought for you, Edwin.
Yep, go ahead.
So, I don't want to butcher his name, but you just said it, Muratazaliev. Anyways,
yep.
Backroom. Let's just keep Backroom.
Backroom, yeah.
So Backroom has two common opponents with Xander Zayes, which those two common opponents went the distance with Backroom, and Xander was able to get him out in 5 rounds. Now, I'm not saying that means anything, but for people to downgrade Zayas, saying that he's the weakest link, that to me speaks volumes since Backroom is the so-called boogeyman of the division. Now, if you want to talk about Virgil Ortiz, you want to talk about Fundora, okay, power punchers, whatever. But you can't sit here and say that Zayas is the weakest link. Now, rumors are also stating that Zayas is going to do a defense of his title and then move up to 60. How true that is, I don't know, because his last fight, he came in right at 154, and they're saying that it's hard for him to make the 54. So I don't know how that's going to play out. But as of right now, they can talk all the shit they want. You know, they're bringing up Staniones.
Yes.
Supposedly to be his defense, his is belt defense. You know what I mean? Fight.
Right,
But
right.
at the end of it, at the end of it all, yeah, does Xander lack punching power? Probably. You know, there's a lot of channels out there calling him the Puerto Rican Haney. Okay, whatever. But at the end of the day, you can't knock the kid for his skills. You know what I'm saying? He's a hell of
Hmm.
a boxer. He's a hell of a mover. When Tito Trinidad went, at 20 for his first title fight, how many people were doubting Tito? How many people said, "Oh, he's never going to amount to nothing"? And look at what he turned out
Right,
to be. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Pero you
Mm.
can't keep everybody happy. You know what I mean? You got other cultures and other people on the other side of things that are always going to talk shit. You know what I mean? The
Yep.
Mexicans will always talk shit about Puerto Ricans. The Puerto Ricans will always talk shit about the Dominicans. The Dominicans will always talk shit about the Cubans. The Cubans always talk shit about the African Americans. The African Americans always talk shit about the UK. It's just it's the nature of the beast. But at the end of the day, you know what? Until they get in the ring, can't nobody say nothing. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, well, we're dealing with a sport where it's mainly based off testosterone, like I'll kick your fucking ass, you know. So I expect that from all competition, all countries, all cities. Mm, that's something that I expect from the fighters. Now, you said something very interesting that I don't think that we should just overlook. And if you're familiar with it, I don't want to put you on the spot, but are you're familiar with the two guys they have in common, right?
No, but I can pull them up real quick.
Okay, let's do that. Can you just pull it up because I already have it up here. I already have it up. Because what I wanted to point out is something that I want to point out with you. Matter of fact, I could probably pull it up for the audience so they can see it. But can you when you're there, let me know that you're there.
I'm there. So we
Okay,
got we got George Fortea
okay,
and Roberto Valenzuela.
right. Okay,
Those are
now
the two common fighters.
those are the two common fighters. Okay, now I just want to point out something, right? I want to point something out here. I want you to notice that he went 12 rounds with Fortea, right?
Correct.
And the Robert fight was an 8-rounded scheduled fight.
Correct.
You see that? You see that, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now let's go back to Xander's record. Let's pull up Xander and let's see how he fared with them.
They were
Because
both 10-round fights.
hold up, now watch this. Now Xander happened to fight both the same two opponents back to back, right? And Xander's fights with him were both of them were scheduled 10-round fights. Moratayev, it was one of them was an 8-round fight, and he went Tommy Dame with both these guys. One was a 12, he went the whole distance. The other one was an 8. And I want to point this out, right? I just want to point this out right here, right? Okay. I want the world to know that Xander Zayes, Moratayev went the distance with both those guys. Xander stopped both of them in the 5th.
Yep.
So for them to say he's pillow fisted, let me go back and watch Xander's highlights. There was more than one. There was like 3 or 4 fighters he had on roller skates. And the fight happened to end because it was an 8-round fight. Had that been like a 10-round fight, he knocks that guy out. He knocks him, he stops him. There were a lot of fights in Xander's career where that he had a lot of these guys hurt. For the world to turn around and say, oh, Xander's pillow fisted, bullshit. He's in there with some tough dudes, bro.
Yep.
You can never judge the will of a man's heart when everything he's working for is riding on it. His family, he's thinking about all that shit. And he's going into battle. They lost against Xander. They gave him the best version of themselves. In the beginning of these guys' name, it says professional boxer. Now, all guys on the same level, I agree, but I can't say that Xander's competition was any different than these guys. Muratov went the distance with both common opponents, and Xander stopped both of them. Stopped them in their tracks. Now, although Xander's probably biggest win right now is his last fight against Perez, Chino. I'm going to have to say that that's probably his biggest win, due in part that Chino did beat Conwell. We got to acknowledge this, knowing that we all said that Conwell was what most of us thought was going to be one of the next world champions. They said if anybody can do it at 154, it was him. That if any of the champions dared to fight him, it could be and the new. But no sooner that Chino beats him, the boxing world was kind of forced to bend the knee and give Perez his credit. You heard them. They came on. They didn't like it. They didn't like it, but they had to admit it. But no sooner that Xander beats him,
now he's a nobody.
Made him look sloppy.
Now he's a nobody.
He's a nobody.
Yep.
He's a nobody now. He made him look sloppy in the ring. And there was a couple times in the fight I saw that Chino was on wobbly, steaky legs. Yep. He was so for them to sit here and say he doesn't have power, no. He didn't take the ultimate chance in that fight. I don't blame the kid. I don't blame Xander for not going out there and putting all the risk on the line in your first world title fight at 22 years old. If I'm his coach, I don't give a damn. We're in the 7th, 8th, 9th round. You are clearly winning this fight, kid. Don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up. Same thing I gave credit to Devin Haney against Regis Progress.
Hey, hold on 1 second, because we're getting yelled at for not reading the chat.
Let's read them damn chats.
Yo, shout out to Hector Tapia in the building. Bang Bang and Naldo in the building. Naldo says Zayes should fight the 15, which is Nikita Tszyu, for his warm-up. Then the number 10, number 5, and number 1. If Zayes is successful, then he can go for the other titles. That's his opinion. And then he says, read the chat.
Yo, good picks, because we that's where we're getting to, is where do you want to see him fight now? You know what I'm saying? And what will do it, for Xander, and that's what I want to talk about. And Armando, I think that's a great idea. Get a guy like the number 15 guy, like he says, Zhu there. And
Zhu. And then the number 10 is Charles Conwell.
Take that fight. And what you do is, right, as Xander Zayes. Now, this is not a rule in boxing. What I'm about to talk about is not a rule. It's not an official rule. But amongst champions, it is. You are not considered a champion until you defend your title you won. It's one thing to win the belt. First, you obtain the belt, you beat that guy, right? You take his belt, you take a picture with it. You want to make sure you take a picture with his belt. Back in the locker room, you give him his belt back. They sent you your new belt in the mail. Now, as you get your new belt, there's plates inside the belts. You can see them right here. That tells your history, if you so choose so. If you, as the boxer, choose to write the thing, hey, send that to me. You pay for it. They send you the plaque. You screw it on. As you win in more victories and title defenses, your belt starts to get tricked out. It starts to show how dominant of a champion you are. The WBO, for instance, turns gold. You see how the white lines are on it? That all turns gold for 5 title defenses. So when you see a guy get in the ring with one of those belts, if you know how to read the belts, you see how strong of a champion he is. That's who you beat. So that's what I mean about Xander. He needs a title defense. He needs to write his own legacy on his own belt. He needs to put history on his belts. That's what that means. So, but amongst champions, if you don't successfully defend your title, you're not really considered. There's a lot of champions that went down. Julian Jackson, I don't ever think he got a title defense. He won the belt, I think it was twice, but he never defended his title. And amongst champions, they don't. Okay, but you're not an official. You gotta seal the serum, the fucking
You got to make it
tradition.
official.
Yeah, you gotta make your belt official. You gotta prove that you can win it and defend it. Then that's locked in stone. And I understand that that's not a rule. There's no rule in boxing that says, as far as the organizations go, but amongst champions, there's other things that unspoken rules in fighting that we really don't sometimes pay attention to, right? Which is the no mas, what Roberto Duran has made so famously known. And it's like people overlook those kind of things, but being knocked out is one thing. It means that you detach me from my senses. I can't move. I got Bambi legs, whatever. I could no longer continue. It was out of my control. But the fact that you make a guy say uncle and you made him wipe the white flag, that's, in a fighting world, that is the ultimate. You mean to tell me I made you tap out? Say uncle, say it. Yep, I give up. Would you say I give up?
I'd rather get knocked out.
I'd rather get knocked out 100 times. 100 times. But those are the things that sometimes we really don't, sometimes it goes over our head, and how important that is and how shameful as a fighter, and that's where fighters like Subriel Matias made his mark. Although a lot of people don't necessarily fall in love with his style, some do. Some love him because of his style. Some see it as a weakness. They've talked about it. But nevertheless, Subriel Matias is a powerful force in the 140-pound weight division. He's also known through the boxing world as the Boogeyman. And he got that name because he stopped 5 straight fighters on the stool and made each one of them say, uncle. That's not easy to do. Remarkably, both of the fighters that I speak of today are Latin, Puerto Rican fighters. Where do we see our fighters? And right now, we're, for an island so small, statistically, if we're being honest, we're more than holding our weight right now. For as many people that are on the island, for the amount of champions we have currently today, we're holding our weight big time. Okay, so we're on a high right now. Some of our other Puerto Rican fighters have lost, like Edgar Berlanga and Amanda Serrano. Okay, we can't leave her out. Okay, that was a loss. In a trilogy, she did not win one fight. Okay, no matter how I want to view it. So we do have our lows, we do have our highs. And the men that I speak about today are the guys that are leading the way for Puerto Rican boxing right now. What a lot of the comments I saw in my chat that I want to address, and a lot of them were saying Dominican boxing tried to make a push, and a lot of Mexican fans feel like the Puerto Rican-Mexican rivalry is the real rivalry. They feel that has more history, and I agree. I believe that it is the real rivalry. I love when Mexican Puerto Rican fight. It's just like watching like any of your rivals. Whatever team you're into. It's kind of like that for me, and I love it because the Mexicans bring the best out in us, and we know when we're gonna fight the Mexicans, we're in for a long night. They've always been here, but I also see what he's saying, but I also understand that the Mexicans and the Puerto Ricans have the history behind them. That's the problem. It's not a problem really per se because but they got a rich history. And other countries and other places are starting to really compete. In the last, I would say, 8 years, Japan has really, and I mean really, shown their ass. Japan. At one time, I believe they had 9 current world champions. At one time, and I think it was like last year or some shit. It was ridiculous. They were dominating that lower weight divisions because of fighters like Naoya Inoue had all them Japanese dudes believing they can do this shit. And yo, they got really dedicated behind the sport. Them Japanese dudes, they really came. They like surpassed China, bro. And I thought that China was gonna have a better world champion. As far as because the greatest world champion from that side of the world has to be Manny Pacquiao from the Philippines. From that side of the world has to be the Filipino fighters. And then here comes Japan. Oh my God, are they staking their claim? And they left all those other countries in the dust. They left them in the dust. And as far as Latin fighters, same thing was happening with Santo Domingo fighters, Dominican fighters. They're trying to make their claim. They're trying to come up, and really like, start establishing legacy, history,
They're,
great fight.
what they're
That's
trying
what
to
they're
do is
missing.
start a false rivalry. It'll
Well, yeah,
it'll never be a rivalry between PR and DR ever, ever. It's just not there. I mean, let me rephrase that. There could be a rivalry, but it's gonna take years for that rivalry to
uh,
build up. You know what I mean? It's not like a Mexico Puerto Rico.
not really. It really just takes that one great fighter. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, as far as Puerto Rican and Mexican boxing, Puerto Rico was killing Mexico once upon a time. We were killing them until Salvador Sanchez came out of nowhere. That dude was like 19 years old, bro, 20 years old. He was a kid, he was a baby. He smashed our guy. And now, when I'm talking about smashed our guy, the remarkable thing before the fight started, he told him, after I'm done with you, your own mother will not recognize you. And he went out there and did exactly that. Unfortunately, he died in a car accident. His life was cut short. Many of us in the boxing world would have loved to see his career played out and where he would have taken that to. But the way Wilfredo, the way he beat him, that man down. I mean, Wilfredo was going into that fight with 100% knockout ratio and 100% 17 world titles knockout ratio. Every world title he's ever been in, he knocked out the dude. And then all it took, man, was that one Mexican dude, bro. That one dude that was so fucking dominant, and we couldn't deny it. We couldn't deny it. After he died, it would have been all right for the boxing world to shit on his name. And, oh yeah, if he was alive, we would have beat him now. Put my guy. No, but we was humble. As a matter of fact, since his death, Rafito, like, I think it was for like 10 years, he throws a party every year for him and gives his family money and shit. Like, he was doing that until he got down on his luck and everything, too much partying, but he respected him so much over that victory. And that was a kid. He
Hey,
changed Mexico boxing, I think, forever.
for sure. Hey, I'm gonna catch up with the chat. Nando says by 2027 or 2028, if Zayas can still make the weight, he will be 25 years old and he will be fully physically developed, which is true. He's still not fully physically developed yet. He's still growing
Right.
into his man strength. You know what I mean? Um,
100.
it says Zayas has to keep working. Zayas' team has to keep working him step by step throughout his division. George Martinez, saludo. He says DR is trying to take clout from PR fighters and it's not working. And then Bang Bang just said even the WC president, Suleiman, said Puerto Rico has more champions than any other country in the world.
Currently, right now, we're on top. Yeah, for as small countries and stuff, we on top with all
Speaking
the big countries and everything. Everybody.
speaking of champions, the rumors are that Oscar Collazo's fighting in September versus Ronald Chacon. I want to say he's Venezuelan or
He's not fighting Puma.
no. So no, I'm talking about Collazo. I'm not talking about Bam Bam. El Pumita is
Oh,
fighting
sorry.
Oscar Collazo. So what they're trying to do, this is in September. It's pretty much almost set. But what they're doing is they're doing a workaround because they're trying to get a unification with either Taduro or Jerusalem for
Right.
Riyadh season in November on the Benavides card. That's what they're aiming for.
Oh,
So,
so is the Benavides fight gonna happen? I thought it got pushed back. They were talking about Bivol fighting somebody else and then reliving that fight. What's going on there?
bro, there's so much shit going on in the boxing world that it's hard to keep up because
Yeah,
fights
yeah, I
get
was
made, then
just
gets canceled. It's like, what the
right.
fuck?
I was just checking that out. Um, and they were saying that Bivol was gonna get a fight in between, and that they were gonna relive it that fight potential trilogy in 2026. And I was saying, so what the hell is going on? Um, I forget the name they were saying they were throwing around there. But and then also like I started at that point. I was looking into like Chulo Santana and shit like that. What he was gonna do, Collazo, what he was gonna do, and I was trying to pay attention to like what was gonna be next for our champions, or where are we headed, because pretty soon we're gonna get to that point where we're gonna be at that gauntlet. Trust me, and our boys are gonna have to show up, you know, and also like where do you guys like Edgar Berlanga, was a young star. I still think he has star status. A lot of people are turned off and the way he expresses himself or doesn't show really, the fans. Some feel that, he let us down. And I'm here just to say that this is what boxing is. You do realize it's only them two guys in the ring, and the potential of your guy losing is basically your 50-50. Either he
Uh-huh.
wins or he wins. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes. And in today's era, which is really fucked up, right? You got to recognize what's going on here. You mean to tell me the only way Xander Zayes is loved or viewed as a real champion, he had to go his whole career all the way up until this point undefeated?
No.
That's the only way you get that star status? You
Look
have
at
to
him.
go your entire career basically undefeated. Taking a loss in today's era, you're chinny. You're a suspect. You ain't shit.
Papi, look at Rene Santiago. He's a champion at 115. He's 14-4 with 9 knockouts. He's lost 4 times and he was able to bounce back and become champion. So that's
Yeah.
bullshit. It's that Mayweather era of
Look at
people.
Subriel Matias.
Matias, 2 losses.
You know? Look, you know what I'm saying? Look at what's his name there, the heavyweight there. What's up? What are you saying?
Bang bang stupid. He
No
said,
front
please,
lines, please address me.
by my God-given
My
name, Mr. King
name,
Nostradamus.
King Nostradamus.
I'm gonna fucking address him by Mr. UD.
UD Notre Dame is listen, bang bang. He said when you address him as the Notre Dame world champion, damn it.
Yo,
I
Nando said
shout
there's a interview out there on YouTube from the former Wilfredo Gomez trainer. He said that you'll
yep.
be surprised with that interview. I gotta check it out.
I gotta check it out. Yo, if you can drop the link in the WhatsApp. Oh guys, by the way, me and Jose we're going down to Cedeno's fight September 5th, I believe it is. We both got approved for our credentials. So I'm going to be covering that fight. I'm going to talk more about the card as we go. So it's going to be me and Camachito. We're going out there to, we're going to be over there. We're going to be covering the fight, asking the boxers questions. So I'm going to that fight. Our credentials got approved already. So, and I'll be giving you more updates on that as we get closer to that day. And I believe that's going to be, what is it, September 5th, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Frontline?
that's the
Yes.
Yuri Cedeno card.
Right. And I'm going to be there. Like I said, we got credentials. So we're going to be behind the scenes talking to all the fighters. And I expect some content, good content from me and from my boy Camachito over there at Chosen One Production. So, yeah. And what was it? There was another announcement I had to make, and it just clearly just popped right out of my head. So when it comes back out, I'll hit you guys up with it. Well, what's up? What's Bear Bear got a lot to say today? Look at him.
He's saying where? He's saying that's in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. That card.
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, PA.
Right
Yep,
outside of Philly.
right outside of Philly. So I'm gonna go down there. Probably step in and check out my sister's gym down there in Philly too. Say what's
The
up.
main
Go
event
see my thing on the wall.
the main event
What's
on
up?
that one, Bang Bang, is I think is Yuri Cedeno based on the card. I think he's the main event.
I think he's holding up as the main event. Still, he did his put a guy in the hospital.
Yes, he main event. It was
Right.
down here in Florida. I think it was at either Pro
It was the
Box.
main event.
No, mentira. It was an
Was
MVP.
it?
I think an MVP card.
Okay, but he was the main event,
He was
right?
the
The
main
brother.
event. Yes, yes.
Okay, all right, right. So I think he's still holding up. The other one is holding up, I guess, or him. Which one is this one? Nah, I'm confused. You
George
just-
just said that only works for PR fighters. Pitbull has 3 losses and never revenged any, and nobody says anything about him, which is true.
which is true. Which is true. Great point.
But you
Great
know what it
fucking
is?
point, bro.
It's something against Puerto Rico that the boxing community has. They
You
has
no
they
no
have
no no
this
no no no
hate.
no 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 no. Let's vamos a hablar claro.
Sin
Vamos a
chatear.
hablar claro within our people, our Latin people. Let's just say what it is, bro. Don't sugarcoat it. Puerto Ricans feel entitled because we're part of the U.S. The rest of the Latin countries are not like us. And for a while, I have to admit, we have been real cocky with it. But at the same time, it puts us in a bad situation because the other countries look at us and are like, what's your flag? Are you U.S. or are you Puerto Rico? Does the U.S. don't acknowledge you when you're losing? And they count your belts when you're winning. You understand?
The nature of the
And it's
beast.
always like Puerto Rico, when they're down on their luck, they only got like one world champion. They start counting American champions. Now, look, mira, look at that. That's our flag. And we got that, right? Because technically, if you wanted to count all American champions, you would have to include Puerto Rico. It's an American state.
Well, it's a territory.
It's current. Once your country's currency matches the people that are supplying you, there's no other money in Puerto Rico but American currency. American currency doesn't flow in Germany, doesn't run France. You got to trade your money in. So if the money governs your island, that's who the fuck you are. It's simple.
Yo, there's
You
another
see?
rumor. There's another rumor going around. Tell me what you think about this one. Najee Lopez versus
Oh,
Beterbiev.
that's the fight that Najee Lopez and Benavidez
No,
was
not
gonna fight.
Benavidez. Beterbiev. Beterbiev.
Better BF.
The
We're
one that
going
beat
wrong
Bivol.
weight division. Um.
175.
Uh.
Now it's rumored. It's rumored. It's not
You
official.
think
It's
Najee
just.
Lopez is too early? I
I
mean,
think. I
he
think he's
looks
too
great.
green for Better BF.
Yeah.
Pero
I
voy al
was gonna
mío.
say green. I didn't want to, I didn't want to disrespect his braids or anything. You know what I'm saying? He always be coming out, twist his back. I, I just don't think that his top part and his bottom half of his body are in sync. I think he's Najee can do some good stuff up here. He's a little laxy daisy on the defense when he starts throwing, but his feet don't step with him. They don't like he moves good or I would say okay. Um I just don't think he's all the way together, and I think that would be actually a bad fight right now. Give Najee a little bit of time though. Give him a little bit more time, see what he looks like in his next performance,
But you
and
know what
then
though? I'm tired of people always saying that about certain boxers. Give him a little bit more time. Give him. You know what? If they feel they ready and they ready,
mhm.
to put their O on the line, who gives a fuck? Let them
Yeah,
go for
yeah.
it.
Same thing with Xander. Same
Exactly.
thing with Xander. How many people did we sit in this freaking chat and they said, "Oh, he's not ready"? How many people, even Puerto Rican guys, told me straight up that now they're pushing him too fast. First they were going a little too slow. Now they're fucking going too fast, and all of a sudden we blinked and Xander's up there on a title fight, and a lot of people didn't like it. And it was kind of like in a situation, sink or swim. Are you
Yep.
built for this? Is this what you want to do with your life? Then show me. Some fighters have taken big risk early in their career, and their skills, it was more favorable for him. Devin Haney beat George Camboza. Even though George beat Tio, no one ever thought that George was going to actually pull it off against Devin. At least I didn't. I had Devin in both fights clearly winning. I just knew that he was the more athletic, uh, and he had a great jab, and no one had figured out Devin's weakness up in until the Ryan Garcia fight. So up until that point, Devin was firing on all cylinders, and I thought he would just clearly beat George Camboza. So yeah, I mean, look, it's either sink or swim for some of these kids. You're talking about Nicholas Flores, and you're saying, and I could sit here and be like, what's Nicholas Flores' biggest win on his record? You know what I mean? Like to put him in against a guy like that, so
We got Nicholas Flores. Matter of fact, he made an announcement. They're finalizing the details, but he is
yeah.
fighting in September.
Oh, so it's not clear who he's fighting,
Not
but
yet.
rumors got it out there that it could
He's
be a
fight.
potential fight until they relive their trilogy back. You know what I mean? And then look, you got to think about this trilogy, right? Okay, isn't Better Be uh the one that beat Vivo, right? Isn't he like 40 years old?
Yep.
So like time's not on their side. Time's not on their side. So if he fights Fla, let's say he fights Flash, right?
Not Flores. Not Flores. Najee Lopez.
Naji Lopez. Like, damn it, why do I got his name in my head?
Because you're
Sorry,
thinking
sorry,
about
sorry.
Polanco versus
Yes, yeah. I'm thinking
that
about. I
fight.
was
That
talking
fight's gonna
about that
happen
earlier. Yeah,
soon.
yeah. I was talking about it earlier. So, that's just a dangerous fight. And then, what year are you going to revisit the Bivol fight? 2026. He'll be what, 41, going towards 42 years old by that time. Like, I'm not sure what he wants to do. I think he should just try to go up and maybe fight a light cruiserweight title. See if he can get another division under his belt. I don't know. I really don't know. But hey, sink or swim, I guess. If he feels like he's ready, taking on a big puncher like that, well, look, top ranked Bob Arum tried to tell Big Baby, don't take that fight against Martin,
I'm about to.
right? He told him, don't take it. Don't take that fight. What happened? He got his ass whooped. You know, sometimes people are trying to tell you, don't take those fights. Sometimes people are trying to tell you don't take them fights. But it is you know, you want to see how you fare against some of these guys. You want to see it. Because until you meet someone that is more skilled, way skilled from you, you're not going to believe it, right? And a clear example of this, what I'm talking about, is Pat Lee. When Pat Lee fought Shakur Stevenson, right, Josh Padley, he went on an interview later describing what it was like to be in the ring against Shakur Stevenson. And Josh Padley, shout out to you, brother, for having the cojones to be honest and tell the truth. He said he had never, ever sparred or fought anyone on the lights of Shakur Stevenson's speed, his ring generalship. He said he was doing things in the ring. He said, all I wanted to do was touch him. All I wanted to do, my coach kept telling him, just, okay, you stop swinging so strong, just try to touch him. And they were showing clips. He couldn't touch Shakur, no matter what he did. And this is fucking with him. Because in his gym, his entire life, what made him good and believed in his skills, he could touch everybody that's in front of him. At least he could do that. He couldn't do that with Shakur. He'd never seen anything like it. And that's when you start to realize, wait a minute, there's levels to this. This is what they're talking about when they say there's levels to this. Some fighters hear the phrase, but they've never been in front of a guy that's a level above them, or maybe even two levels. And until that happens, that's when it happens, you know. But I think that Xander has definitely proved himself, because like we say, there's levels to this. There is levels to this. And Xander, let's check his level meter. What are the standards? He made it all the way up there undefeated. He beat the guy that beat the guy and won a belt by the age of 22. What am I missing?
Well, one thing I like about Xander is he's mentioned in interviews is that if I get a loss, it's not going to be the end of my career. He's like,
Right,
this is a sport. You know, even the greats outside of Mayweather that made up if you lose, you're done. Outside of
right,
Mayweather, all the greats have losses, and it's not how you lose, it's how you come back. Prime example, Subriel Matias, 2 losses. Rene
right,
Santiago, 4 losses. You got Bomba
right,
Gonzalez. I don't know how many losses he's got, and he's always came back and became champion.
right,
Emmanuel Rodriguez, another one. He lost his title in
right,
Japan, came back,
right.
and whatchamacallit, you know? Fucking
Yep.
Bang Bang's very vocal today. Puello's crying about losing and getting the rematch. Ponceño says thank you. They were saying that before he fought with Chino, and look at the schooling he showed. When ready is ready. You can't learn riding a bike without getting on it, man.
Right.
George Lopez says Najee got to catch better Biev now and get his name on his resume. Won't be easy though. Shout out to Carlos Navedo in the building. And then Bang Bang says, I get it. You want a Hall of Famer on your resume, but why better Biev?
I know. That's a big that's a that's tough right there. You know, that guy can put your lights out. You know,
But
he
but I
got one
think
punch knockout power.
I think Lopez Najee has the skill set to outbox him. And don't
You
forget
think
that,
so?
yeah. He's got good
You think
movement.
he got the chin? You think he's got the chin, the footwork that
Well,
Demetrius Bivol had?
well, I don't think he's got the chin of Bivol. Only reason why I say that is because Najee's jaw's been broken before and it's been tested after his surgery,
Mm,
and
yep.
he hasn't dropped yet. But that being said, if he can stay away and move away from Better Biev and give him, the boxing clinic that we know Najee has, it could be a tough fight for. It's not like Bivol. I mean, Bivol, yeah, he's got a chin. Bivol also has footwork, but Bivol would stand in the pocket and trade with you if he has to. The question is, I don't know if Najee will do it. Najee's got heart though. Najee's got skills and shit. Look, Bang Bang saying not yet. Frontline, not yet.
Not
Hey,
yet. It's too
but
much.
no,
Too.
I don't think so. But I mean, look at Belanga. Was it too soon to put him
Hey
in?
yo, bang bang, bang bang. Frontline want to get this boy killed. You know what I
Nah,
mean?
they.
he
You know
want to
what?
he want
Everybody
to get
said that.
him knocked out. Najee, like, leave that man alone right
I mean,
now.
everybody,
Let him go.
everybody said the same shit about Belanga with Canelo. That it was too soon. That he fought
Yeah,
a whole bunch of bums and this and that.
but wait a minute, wait, whoa. That is not even a good scenario to even break down
Okay,
because
so
no one walks away from a Canelo payday. It's not the same risk versus reward. Okay, you took a risk, but they paid you handsomely to
right,
perhaps lose. Najee's not gonna make that kind of money fighting Bivol.
Beterbiev.
Benavidez
You don't know
here.
that.
He ain't gonna make Saul Canelo money.
No, he ain't
Get
gonna
the
make
hell
Saul
out of
Canelo
here.
money, but you gotta understand, it's probably gonna be his highest payday.
The risk is not gonna match the reward.
That's what they said about Matias. That's why nobody wanted to fight him.
Right. That's why he's so goddamn dangerous. You know what I'm saying? That Teofimo Lopez bluffed like he was going to make a negotiation. Meanwhile, he was signing the papers to enter witness protection program and then skated out. You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
after
Through
that
the back door.
Cocotazo, he's still in there.
Uh,
Bro, he hasn't said nothing since that Cocotazo. Nothing.
nah, him,
Or his
MJ,
dad.
all them dudes, they're all in witness protection program. All of them. He hasn't said two words on social media. Man, listen.
So
Hey,
the root the Matias Dalton Smith, unfortunately, I think that's what's gonna happen. That's what it's
oh, it
looking.
is gonna happen.
That's what. Well, it's not a fit, but if you look at all the signs that are out there
The WBC chairman, Suleiman, is now on board with it. And why do you think that's so? Frontline.
because of Uncle Turkey,
You're goddamn right.
it's the
And
money. It's
whatever
the money
Turk,
behind it. Now,
yeah,
what a lot of people have misconception about is they keep saying that Subret has to fight Dalton Smith because Turkey said so. It doesn't work that way. People got to understand
no,
that Subriel does not work, and I'll say it 3 times, does not work for Turkey. He is signed to Fresh Production. Whatever Fresh Production wants to do with his career, it's what's going to happen. If they want to say, fuck that Turkey money, let's go a different route. Let's go, I don't know, a rematch with Puello in December or Isaac Pitbull Cruz because Subriel told Suleiman, let's make that happen because he's the interim champion. So, it could be that. And then you got Bato that skated to 47 because he knows Subriel wants that rematch. He skated to 47.
right.
Hector Tapia wants to know, what do you think about Matias versus the Australian?
With Mateo versus the Australian, which one? The Amparo or
No, Liam Paro already skated to 47.
oh, so you're talking to Dalton Smith about the Dalton Smith?
It's got to be Dalton Smith, but he's not
I
Australian.
don't
He's
think he's
Ukrainian. I mean,
Australian.
not Ukrainian. He's UK from UK.
Yeah, I don't think he's Australian, but he's from out that world. If that's what he's saying, I don't know. Okay, first of all,
And before you get into your thought, Bang Bang makes a point. Yesterday, Lakasaka interviewed Nelson Adams, Sublet's
yep,
trainer, and he made it public that Sublet is already in training.
great. Okay, check this out. Check this out. All right, guys. First of all, to a certain extent, Turkey does not dictate Subriel Matias's career. The problem is that Turkey controls the pieces on the board. And when you're playing the game, you're going to want to play the game the way it's played. Here's the problem with the WBC. The WBC doesn't always honor what technically we consider a ranking system. The way they elect the next person up to fight for their title, they have a 32 board member and they elect the next fighter. If they don't deem you worthy enough or they see a better fight because it makes dollars and cents, what do you think the WBC is going to side with? If Subir Matias doesn't do what Turkey says, he's only going to run into a brick wall with the WBC. They're just going to mandate the fight. And then he's going to probably not have Turkey funding it and still fight Dalton Smith for less money and still be forced by the WBC. So what I think his best option is just do what he says. Get that out of the way and get yourself some leverage.
Well, right
Subir's
now, Puello's demanding the WBC for the rematch.
Right. And look how powerful Turkey is just telling the WBC to ignore him. Hold up, I got to use the bathroom. Please talk for a little bit.
Dale. Cam wants to know, round one, who do you think Berlanga should fight next? Well, he's got options. Gabe Rosado just won and called him out. Is it a good fight for him? Probably a good fight, a comeback fight for him. I would prefer a Plant versus Berlanga. There's already bad blood there, and I'm sure that fight could sell as a comeback fight. They're both coming from a loss. Munguia, till he gets that whole pet shit situated, I don't think he'll be coming back in the ring for a while. And Pacheco didn't look good. I think a good comeback fight for Berlanga right now would be probably a Plant. A Plant fight would really elevate him back up. Naldo says the fight against Dalton Smith is a trap. Matias has to KO Dalton so he doesn't get robbed. I agree. But I think that Matias will finish him anyways. So that's nothing. And yep, Eddie Hearn and Turkey are not to be trusted. Both of those are fucking scumbags. Matias is gonna beat Dalton Smith worse than a domestic violence victim. Pero no sea malo, bang bang. But yeah, good comeback fight for Berlanga. Yeah, I would say Plant. Plant would be the perfect fight. They're both coming off losses. They're both
Where are we, guys?
they're both coming off losses, and they're both already got that momentum going where I think it'll be a good comeback for both. We're talking about what's a good comeback for. Well, Cam asked round one, who do you think Berlanga should fight next? So
I
my thought process before you give your opinion, I said,
hold on. You already gave your thought process and your
well, I'm gonna
opinion.
let you know so that like that you can know what to say on your behalf in case I didn't already say it. I said Gabriel Rosado just won and called
And
him
Caleb
out.
Plant.
And then Caleb Plant, I say would be a better next fight because they're both coming from a loss, and plus
Right,
that bad blood is already there. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So
I think Caleb Plant fight would be a good and a better fight. Um, because the other fighter that he wanted to fight, which was Jaime Munguia, is not looking too good today in era with him popping dirty and the B sample coming back and with everything with him, they're trying to like keep that on the wraps. But if you book a fight with him, you're liable to take all that back in. So Berlanga doesn't need any other kind of, scrutiny
controversy.
on his
Yeah.
wins or losses. Meaning, let's say he was to take a fight with Jaime Munguia and beat him. Is anybody going to give him credit for that win
Nope.
after Jaime tested positive like that and everything? So I think that the Plant fight would be a great fight. I'm not sure about a Jamal Charlo fight. what they're looking like in their future coming back to boxing. No one knows about the Charlo twins anymore, right? So
Or even a Bruno Suarez, the one that beat Munguia.
that's a good fight.
That'll be a good
Now
fight.
that would be a good fight. Give me Bruno, the guy that beat Jaime, knocked him out. I'll take that fight with. Now Edgar Berlanga's got to prove himself. He's got to dust himself off, and he's got to prove himself. He's a good puncher. He's a strong puncher. What Edgar Berlanga, he kind of missed that initiation of fighting the tough guys first. He kind of went from mediocre fights to like fighting the best. He kind of just jumped into that. Right. He didn't work his way there. So we knew this going into the fight with Saul. We knew this. What was it we were saying? Edgar doesn't deserve this fight with Saul. Well, who did he beat to get that fight? They set him up. And off a setup to get knocked out, he ended up lasting the 12 rounds. And that's what Edgar was laughing about. You guys set me up to get sniped. And your boy couldn't do it.
Yep.
So he was riding off a high off of that. But he was kind of like that fighter that skipped a portion in his career. We knew that. And then Hamza Sharili really just, and his star status took a hit. But thank God to the boxing gods that we're in a blood sport. You go out there, you bring the fans blood, they'll love you again.
Yep.
They will love you again. All Edgar Berlanga gotta do is go out there and bring the fans that victory, the blood that they crave as fans. Do that. You'll be back in the good graces with the fans before you know it.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So, Daniel Dubois, he was considered to be chinny, pillow-fisted. They said all kinds of shit about Daniel Dubois, that he's a quitter. He's a quitter. He'll quit in the fight. They said all kinds of shit about that man. That man rolled up off the ashes like a phoenix and got himself into one of the biggest paydays he's ever seen against Usyk. All right? He didn't do too good in the fight, but that's where he got himself after his losses and all the criticism that he faced in his life in boxing. Now, there's a man that you can say that was called everything in the book, and he really turned it around. I can honestly say he did that right before your eyes, Daniel Dubois, because he was called a lot of things. A quitter, chinny, can't take a punch. And he went out there and he knocked out AJ, the worst AJ's ever been knocked out in his career. Nobody's knocked out AJ like that. Nobody. He made AJ face plant. His face hit face down, ass up. He had AJ in that ring. That was crazy to see. So, yeah, I give him his credit. And to this freaking Mayweather era of all fighters not wanting to risk their own and to retire undefeated, like the Andrew Wards and shit. Like, he skated out because he was young. Andrew Ward was in his prime when Andre Ward, he was in his prime when he retired, most people thought. What was he, 31, 30 years old, some shit like that?
Something like that.
And he retired. You know why? The fear of losing. To be able to say that you walked away undefeated, you weren't willing to put anything else. So that's what stopped your career. The fear of losing, not the fear of accomplishing more. Nah, fuck that. It wasn't worth the risk.
Yeah, but let's be honest.
That's sad.
Let's be honest. We talked about it before. Mayweather, Pretty Boy,
Yeah.
he was the problem. He fought any and everybody.
Yeah.
Money Mayweather, he took towards the end of his career, he cherry picked the people who he wanted to fight, and that's why he
Yep.
came out. I mean, he's got the names, don't get me wrong, because on paper it looks good, but he's not that guy that they say if he would have fought prime for prime, he wouldn't be where he's at right now.
Well, all right. It's true and not true, right? What you're saying, right? Okay, because you got to remember what Mayweather did in the time frame that he did it. When Mayweather was Pretty Boy, he was together as a fighter. Pretty Boy's hands were together. After so many years of fighting, punching dudes in the face, his hands started to give up on him. After every fight, he would basically break both hands, one or the other. He was always in cast, always. So he was like scouring the world for remedies. He would put his hands in wax and like do this 4 times a day, get these wax treatments where like his hands would be like in cast, then they would peel it off and shit. But that didn't work. He tried acupuncture, everything. His hands broke too many times. He had brittle hands. He had too much power for his hands that his hands can take, Floyd Mayweather. So he already had an extensive career. Mind you, the first time Mayweather retired, let's just keep this in mind, he beat De La Hoya. On that night, Mayweather retired from boxing. The night he beat De La Hoya. He walked away from the sport on the pinnacle of the biggest fight of his career. He takes 2 years off, goes to Japan and does that crazy surgery in Japan, whatever surgery it was. And 2 years later, he comes back to the sport and he misses weight against Marquez. He came in like 2-3 pounds overweight. And boy, did he put in a boxing clinic on that man. He beat the brakes off that. That man didn't win 10 seconds in that fight. All 12 rounds. He didn't win 10 seconds. He dropped him in the first, I think, and then he just punished him for 11 more rounds. But Mayweather's punching power at that point was gone. He wasn't punching with the conviction that he believed in his hands. They told Mayweather, bro, you're going to have the worst case of arthritis when you get older. Like your hands are going to be like this, right? And he's trying to beat all that. He's trying to run from them surgeries and everything. And he might be on fucking pain medication for the rest of his fucking life because of those hands. But I said all of that to say this, that Mayweather was a handicapped fighter when he was Money Mayweather. He was already handicapped. He could no longer punch the way he once did when he was younger. What he had to do was change his whole fight strategy. He had to develop a new way of fighting. And he really, really hid behind that Philly shell. His fight game became his footwork, that Philly shell, and a point game. Then when he got to the pinnacle of his career at the tail end, he personally handpicked every fight because that was a 20-year career. Mayweather had a 20-year run in boxing. He was like the Tom Brady of fucking boxing. Like some of these guys got a 20-year career, but the last 5 years of their career, it's all losses. A fucking just list, a row of losses. And Mayweather, he sealed the deal. He had already became 5-division champion. He had already done everything he needed to do. He fucking beat Manny Pacquiao. And from there, it was just the Robert Guerreros and shit, fucking ghosts, those kind of fights. They never had a chance with Mayweather. Never. And he knew that. But at that point, he was just marketing himself. They called Mayweather back, the WBC and these big top promoting networks and shit, because Mayweather was carrying the torch. He didn't really do it for competition at that point. It was just merely money, and that was 20-year career right there. That's the tail end of Mayweather. But if you really look at Mayweather's career, there's only 5, 6 fights. 5, 6 fights that you could say he point system a guy, but if you be honest with yourself, he stood in front of everybody. He stood right in front of them. They just couldn't hit him. Yo, when he fought Castillo, right? Uh uh he knew in that fight he was down on the cards, Mayweather. He knew it. Yo, he came out like this. He stood the rest of the night. He go watch the fight. He stands right in front of him, and he beat him. And he beat him. He was just real superior in his skills. He had too many attributes that the good Lord blessed him with. He was a fucking cat. I truly believe if you trick Mayweather and you threw him out a window, he'll land on his feet. He had those fucking reflexes were incredible, man. His eye-to-eye coordination, his understanding of distance, how close you are to me. He understood that you only had 2 hands and there were only so many things you can do. He knew how to take away your right side, the side you didn't train for. And then he also had this speed that was out of this world. It was like blinding speed. And his defense game was remarkable. The things he understood about fighting in the moments, like if you hit him with a big shot, you were never going to hit him again. He recorded that. You know, like fighters like Tim Tszyu, I talk about this. That motherfucker got hit with that shot. Guess what knocked him out the same punch. Fighters don't always record information.
Yeah. Hey,
The
Hector
elite
Tapia.
ones do.
Hector Tapia says if his daughter wins the last 2 fights in Puerto Rico, she could be fighting for a world championship next year. Her name is Kiria Tapia. Yeah, she's the one that beat the Dominican lady that said no mas, no mas on the Universal.
Matter of fact, hit me up on Instagram. We should have her on this show. Have her come up, let the world know who she is. At least my viewing audience get more notoriety out there for the young fighter, and have her come out and talk with us here at
She's
Round One
undefeated
Sports
too.
Talk.
She's
Yeah,
undefeated.
I would like to talk to her, and you know, I wanna interview all fighters. You know, I'm unfortunately I'm not really familiar with a lot of women fighters. You know, it's bad enough I gotta learn freaking 8,000 male names in every weight division. You know, and I'm fairly new to knowing all the weight divisions. You know, I used to just be a certain kind of fighter, you know, kind of guy. And as I do this by the years and year in, year out, I learn much more. And I always want to expand and to give these fighters their credit and give them a platform where they can come out and share with the world as the world can get closer and more familiar with these fighters, and have her come up and tell her story of how she became successful and what drives her in this sport, which, you know, who like wakes up and says, for your job, I want to get punched in the face today.
Yo,
You know
you
what
know
I
what's
mean?
crazy? Hector
So,
Tapia, I always
yep,
thought that he was Christian Tapia's father. From
really.
yeah, the kid that got that bro, he's from Cuamo.
Mm-hmm.
Um he ended up getting not as bad, but he ended up getting the same thing as Prichal Colon, that head trauma from a fight.
Oh,
He's still good. He's not as bad as Prichal, pero
right.
that's who I thought Hector Tapia was. I always thought for some odd reason he was Christian Tapia's father, but he's actually
Oh,
Kirias.
oh, wow.
But
So,
but yeah, Hector, have her come on, pa, whenever.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We'll set it up, and when she's available, you just let me know when she can do it, and we'll set it up and have her come up here and we can talk some boxing. Absolutely, I would love to have her on. You know, yeah. So guys, like I hope I answered a lot of you guys' question. Nice last name. Whose last name? Huh? Nice last name.
Oh, because look at their name. A Tapia.
Oh, oh, oh. I actually thought it was like them saying it, so I didn't get it because of that. But I saw that it said A Tapia.
No, but for
Well,
those
yeah,
that don't know, Kiria Tapia, 35 years old. He's from San Juan, Puerto Rico. 7-0, one knockout. Her last fight
hmm
was against Liliana Martinez, which she won by TKO in the third round.
nice.
That's what started the DR versus PR.
Remember
Um,
when we were talking about her that started it? Yeah, she was one of the girls that won, and it was another
yep.
Spanish dude that. Remember?
And it was Jacob Gomez. Jacob Gomez was the main event against
Right.
that was on a universal card. It
Damn,
was
Dominican fighters lost big time. That entire
yeah.
freaking.
Kiria Tapia was the one that started the first win for PR against DR, and
Right.
then
That's when the
Jacob
DR
Gomez,
dudes they was really beating their chest. They
bro.
had like one
And
champion
at the
above us.
time, she was 6-0, and Liliana Martinez, the Dominican chick.
Yeah.
I mean, she was 25-21 with 16 knockouts, so she had a lot of ring experience compared to a 6-0 fighter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Right.
So, yeah, that's what started the first win for PR versus DR right there.
Right, right. We were talking about that. We were talking about that, and she kicked it off for us, and we got and then we just took off.
And after that, the other year,
Diablo said, "Oh, talk about it. El Diablo, they lost everything."
yo, and then Mini Pac-Man going to Japan and losing.
Yeah, that's everything. That's that. I'm talking about Alberto Puello. I'm talking about Mini Pac-Man. I'm talking about it all of it. And even the performances with that Rohan Polanco had, it didn't help their argument.
And John Santana either.
No, none of them.
Good
Johnson,
boxers, but their performance didn't match the hype that they've been talking.
right, right, right. And that okay, bye bye. And that all correlates, man.
Yo,
You
speaking
know what
of
I
bye
mean?
bye,
Yep.
is that lady still talking into the camera like your wife can hear her, or did you tell her?
I'm not sure, but she's downstairs now. I see her on the camera. I'm not sure if she ever. I don't have the heart to tell her.
You're fucked
I
up,
don't.
bro. Yeah,
I don't have the heart to tell. She has been coming to my house for weeks. She's the nurse that comes in and checks on my grandfather and helps out with like cleaning dishes, shit like that, right? And he's an old war guy, right? And so what has been happening? I have security cameras in my house. I have one in my living room, outside the surrounding. So every day she does her job, works, and she thinks that camera it has audio, and she thinks my wife's at work watching her. So she goes up to the camera and she speaks to it. She says, "Hey, I did this. I got this for you here, this and this." But my camera system, that one in the downstairs, doesn't have no audio hooked up. So she's been talking into the mic with no audio, right? I don't even want her to hear me say this, right? And so all I see is just this is what I see in the camera,
yo, you're fucked up, bro.
right? So she's like, "Yeah, I told your wife what happened." And I'm looking at her. I go downstairs. She's like, "Yeah, I went to the camera. And I told your wife what." And I'm just like, "Mm-hmm, mm-hmm." Yo, we're crying, but it went on for so long that at this point, I feel like if I say, "Yo, there's no audio," she's gonna look at me like, "You mean to tell me this whole time you've been watching me?" You know, like Okay. I don't have the heart to tell her. What would you do in my situation, Chad? Tell me in my situation. What would you do? Would you tell her?
Bro,
Would
you
you tell
gotta
her?
tell her.
Oh, you really? Well, then come to my house front line and you be the guy to tell her. Okay? How about that? All right, you tell her that she's been looking into the
Yo,
camera for weeks.
I'll
Uh,
make it safer for you. How about you say, hey, come on my show. The guys want to tell you something.
oh my God, that would be great. Now you really want to get her embarrassed. Like she's gonna be embarrassed enough. Poor lady. She works so
Oh
hard.
shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say.
Yo, so Hector brought that up that she's gonna have two more fights next year and fight for a world title. I was gonna ask you before he even brought that up, who do you think would be the next Puerto Rican champion?
First of all, Tapia, come to my house and you tell her the news. Okay? All right, Tapia? I'm the asshole, right? Listen, this shit is crazy. It's funny as shit, too. Because I'm watching her like, blah, 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 right? And nothing getting translated somewhere. And no audio on that camera.
Look, Ordinary just made a good point. Just tell her that the audio just broke. To don't talk in it no more because the audio just broke.
Nice!
But you're gonna let her talk again.
She's no. She's outside. She's saying bye to Graham. She's on the. I'm watching her. She's on my deck. She's going out. She's about to walk out to her car. I mean, I can literally look out the window and do this, but I don't want to do it that way. I'll just wait for her to stroll in tomorrow morning. When she comes to my house tomorrow, I'll tell her, "Yo, guess what happened? The fucking audio popped." That's exactly what I'm going to say. That way she doesn't talk into the mic every day. Because all I see is just, when you move up to a camera and you get real close to it and all you see is your face like that's all I see. She gets like real close to it. That way she thinks she's breaking down everything. She's the laundry she did. She's telling her everything. No, I did this. And I'm just like laughing up here. I'm just looking at the camera like, yup. Nah, it ain't. And then she wondered why Megan don't know what the fuck she's talking about when she comes up. She's like, yeah, I told you yesterday. Megan has no idea what she's talking about. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But that's a good one. I'm going to say that tomorrow. That way she's not every day talking into the camera. Because I couldn't find a way to freaking tell her. I just couldn't, bro, if I would have told her this entire time, you know how many months she's been. Man, listen, we've been in this room crying, just laughing. The days that we're up here together, that she comes and like, let's say my wife has a day off, and we're both up here. She's downstairs. The reason why we know she knows us because she's up in the camera like that, and we're like, oh, she must need us, but she's telling us like talking. It's crazy. So this has been going on for a while, but I love the idea. I'm gonna use it. This all comes to the end. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Tell her that you broke the audio. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I got to. Yo,
Yo,
man,
so
but
who's the next champ for
funny.
PR?
Who?
Who do you think will be the next champ for Puerto Rico?
For Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
We got a lot of good kids coming up right now. Of course, I got my eye on Cologne, Keith Cologne.
Yeah.
I think that Keith Cologne is a great a great young man. I like his character. I like how he conducts himself in and out of boxing. He goes to college at St. John's. So he's also thinking life after boxing. The kid is he's looking to get a degree and pursue boxing as well. We also have fighters like Juanita Lopez, and even the Puerto Rican fighter that he beat that was young in his career that
Malik
I believe it was
Quiñones. Malik Quiñones.
Quinones. Yeah, he was only like 2-0 or some shit, and one of them
Yep.
was like a 1-0 or something, or
Yep.
making it. Yeah, so it was like they were young. So Quinones, I think, has a big future with Juanita. So
No,
I
you're
think that
talking
there's a
about
lot
overall. You're talking about overall. Yeah, we got a lot of them coming up, but I'm saying, who do
coming
you
up.
think would be the first, like the next first champion for
The
Puerto
next
Rico?
first champion,
Yeah, I think Yanquiel. I think Bang Bang's right. Yanquiel Rivera, el doctorcito.
I actually think okay, Yankel, he doesn't he have an interim
No, he's
belt or
fighting
some
on August 23rd though, right here in Florida at the Caribe Royale.
what
He's
doesn't he have like a small belt or something? I forgot what it was.
he might have an
He doesn't he have
interim.
like a small belt? Yankiel.
Yanquiel's like
Some
9-0 though. He's not like
yeah, he's got like this okay. You know that belt that Xander Zayes used to carry around for the WBC? It didn't really look like a WBC, but it was a WBC. It was like a real minor belt. You know,
okay.
like that belt that Keith.
He's got the silver fly and the WBC silver fly and the WBO intercontinental fly.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so see, he has that shit. Okay, so small awards, small belts to put you in position, give you the confidence that boom. But my prediction, I think Juanita might beat them all to the punch.
You think so?
You know why? Lower weight division, they're desperately always looking for next stars, and shit goes fast down there. Look how
And what?
many fights it took Oscar Collazo to be world champion.
Well, where do you think Yanquiel's at? Yanquiel's at 115.
Yeah, but I still think that Juanita's division, he might beat them all there.
Then
I
you got
like one,
then you got Jean
huh?
Paul Rivera. You got Jean Paul Rivera at 26. He's fighting on Friday, the day before Yanquiel.
I don't think he breaks through the champions. I think they're all in a fucking cahoots at 126. Nick Ball is set on who he wants to fight. Espinoza will fight anybody, but not everybody's going to sign up to fight him. Stephen Fulton, where the fuck is he fighting? Is he fighting at 130 or 126? Because he's supposed to be fighting O'Shaughnessy Foster. And then the newly acquired kid, right? So I don't see him breaking into the 126. I just think that Juanita, well,
We got a lot of them coming up, huh? We got a lot of them.
I mean, anybody can get a shot, right? All of a sudden, you're sitting on the couch and you're saying, oh, shucks, man, I fucking lost my world title and I fought two fucking okay fighters and it doesn't seem like I'm getting any closer to a title shot. Then all of a sudden, the phone rings. Yes, this is the WBC. Alberto Puello wants to fight you, Super, for his belt. Bingo! Shit just falls in your lap. Let's go. Let's go outside and fight for that belt. Boom.
Nah,
So
bang, bang. I would like to
shit
see
can happen kind of fast.
Jean Paul
Huh?
versus John Santana, Dominican versus PR. Bang Bang says Jean Paul versus Shushu, but I'd rather see Jean Paul Rivera
And he's
versus
not at 115, he's at 112. Rivera is at 112.
the 112. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah. And he's the number one contender at the WBA. So
Keith Colon, you got to talk to his father, bro. He's got to get I mean, I get it. It's hard to find matches, but they need to find a promoter
these
that's willing to move him. You know what I'm saying? Cuz right
these
now,
guys don't want to fight him right now.
I
I
know
mean
that because look at his
the
record,
the,
6-0 with 6 knockouts.
the problem with Keith Colon right now, he's in a weird place. With the guys that you should be fighting don't want to take a risk with them because they're all like in the starting gate of their career or right around there. And either they can't take another loss or they don't want to take one. And he's in that point where your fighter starts to like really like, you don't want him to putter out. You want him to be successful. So the guys that should be fighting Keith Colon don't want to fight him. And what I'm afraid of is he's going to have to take a much riskier fight. If he doesn't take a much riskier fight, he's just going to find himself in that situation of fighting these guys that are really not on his level. And that could hurt Keith Colon later in his career, because you put your fighter in fights that technically he's never been in a fight. That's like Edgar Berlanga's 16 first round knockouts. Was he ever in a real fight?
No.
Like, really, somebody that's right. He was in a fight, but he wasn't. You know, the guys just weren't on his level. And he needed that to be really battle tested for the future or the road that lies ahead in those world title fights, defending, knowing and believing in yourself as a champion, as a fighter. You know, all that shit's got to be developed. So Keith Colon is he's in an interesting spot right now. I want to see who's going to step up to fight the kid and what they're going to put in front of him, you know, as far as, so, and then Juanita Lopez, what weight, where's he ranked at? He's not ranked in the top 15 anywhere. He's too young still in his career. Okay. But Oscar Collazo, man, he came out on fire. I think I took Oscar Collazo all of 6 fights or some shit to become a world champion down there at the lower weight divisions. It took him like 6 fights and shit, and he slid in there fairly well, because down in the weight division, those guys are fucking lightning in a bottle. There's a lot of skill down there. But the truth to be told, there's not a lot of guys. Some of those weight divisions down there in the lower weight divisions, they don't have like, okay, for instance, okay, let's pick anybody. Super middleweight. Saul Canelo Alvarez's weight division. For an example, it's not a bad example, I think. All right, out of in his weight division, Saul Canelo 168, there are 1,781 registered fighters in the world in that weight division, right? Okay, for an example, let's go down to the lower weight division. I don't know. Let's go to super flyweight. Let's go to Bam Bam Rodriguez's weight division. Let's check out Bam Bam's weight. There are only Bam Bam Rodriguez is in his weight division, right? What is it, the 115? There are only 853 fighters in that weight division. See? And there's not even 1,000 fighters in that weight division. And the next one, the flyweight, there are 784 fighters in the lower. There's almost 100 fighters less. You see? Your opportunities might come faster, a lot faster than what you think. And the light flyweight, like the lightest one, there are only 397 registered fighters in the entire division. 397 men are that small, that skilled. That's why those lower weight divisions, and then Oscar Collazo's weight division, which is even smaller, which is the smallest of the smallest. Oscar Collazo's weight division, there are only 297 registered fighters. There are only 3 Puerto Rican men on the planet that can make that weight, and he's the number 1. You see? And then in some other weight divisions that are more popular, right? They're oversaturated with competition. Let's start like in a very popular division. Let's say Emmanuel Navarrete, his weight division at 130, because we could start there. There are 2,008 registered fighters in his weight division. 2,008 just in the 130, right? Let's move up to Shakur Stevenson's weight division. There are 2,500 and 97 registered fighters in Shakur Stevenson's weight division. 2,597. When you got Oscar Collazo's weight division that are what, 297? Why do you think you got that opportunity to world title so fast? You see? So when it came to like some of these guys weight divisions, the Japanese guys got that shit on lock, bro. They got that shit on lock, man. So getting in sometimes to some of these weight divisions is like to schedule some of these fights, it's not going to be easy. Especially at 135. Look at that shit. At 135 division, you're gonna have like some of the top fives just continually fighting each other. What about 140? What's the 140? Damn, Subriel Matias's weight division is crazy. 2,738 registered fighter, and Subriel Matias happened to climb himself back out of the realm and secure himself not just a world title, but the most prestigious world title amongst all world titles, which is the WBC. That's pretty fucking good. It's pretty fucking good. Come from the fucking realm, the ashes of being talked about like you done, son. And Jerron Boots Ennis's is 2,600 division. And I think the numbers start cutting down. Miraculously, yeah, they start cutting down from there. 2,255 and the 154. That's crazy, right? You got well, 3 champions, right? You got Xander Zayes at 154 is the new champion. Terrence Crawford is the WBO interim still. They got him still there as the WBO interim, right? Then you got Sebastian Fundora and you got Muratayev. And the representing pitcher in BoxRec that they have representing the champion is Victor Ortiz. Out of all the champions in 154, you got Victor Ortiz up representing the division? What does he have, like an interim belt? He doesn't even have a major world title. Why is his picture up? And then at 135, BoxRec recently just removed Gervonta Davis's face and they put Shakur Stevenson in. So if you go to BoxRec now, Shakur Stevenson's picture represents the 135, like Teofimo Lopez still picture represents the 140. You know, when they're talking about it and you're going through the divisions, Saul Canelo Alvarez is up for 168 and et cetera and et cetera. But for the 154, you know what picture they got up? Fucking Virgil Ortiz. They don't even got my boy Xander up. What a disrespect, bro. No respect shown to the champions, guys. I mean, no respect. What the hell is going on? Yeah, Virgil Ortiz. You see it? It's crazy. It's crazy. So, hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Hey, the powers that be. Buck Fight fans, I hope you got an amazing time here as I did covering boxing with you. We have big fights to look forward to. We have a lot to talk about. There's a lot of different directions, a lot of moving parts in boxing, and we're always intrigued by matchups. I believe Xander Zayes is a young champion. Where he goes from here, time will tell. But I wish him a lot of luck and success in his career, as the rest of my Puerto Rican cousins and stuff out there in boxing, really representing and making a good account for Puerto Rico as a boxing country. So, fight fans, if there's any boxers you want to talk about, any fights you guys want to talk about, even the Jerron Boots Ennis situation, I don't know what's going around with that. As a matter of fact, they were talking about him wanting to fight Virgil Ortiz again. That fight had came up in the past. I guess it was denied by Jerron Boots Ennis' side. Now the conversation is what? Reliving the conversation here. So what happens with Jerron Boots Ennis from here? He's been in some talks of late because he's not really showing up as the fighter or the phenom we all considered him to be. And what I mean by that is his activity. Just his activity alone is not impressing me. Yeah. Yo, boxing outcome, brother. You popping on late, homeboy, but you showed up. I'm gonna give you 3 minutes. You know what I mean? I was about to check out. What's up, brother? Talk to me. Boxing outcome, are you there? Oh shit, I have weed in here. Yo, boxing outcome. Come on, buddy. Where you at?
Yo, can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Hold on. Let me make sure settings are set up. Okay. What's good, man?
Yeah, brother.
I missed it. I missed the last hour, man. My bad.
Yeah, man. I've been on for a while right now. We were chopping it up, talking about all kinds of shit boxing. But real interesting topics, about Xander, the
I
future
think
of
I think
Latin.
that I think that Virgil Ortiz full of shit, man. Because if they listen, I'm gonna be honest right now. Like if we look at um the rankings and everything that he was talking about, like he was talking, you know, really bad about Xander Zayes as if Sebastian Fundora is not the one who vacated the belt. That was not a gift. He didn't fight Xander Zayes. He was mandatory. And the guy ahead of Virgil Ortiz is Sebastian Fundora. He's the one with the world title. He doesn't have an interim or runner up. And now, the rumors on the internet is that he might fight Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman, who is 36 years old, who has had 3 fights in 6 years, who got injured during that Tim Tszyu training camp, who then got replaced by Sebastian Fundora, and that's how Tim Tszyu lost the title. Yeah, that Keith Thurman, the Keith Thurman that never fought, he just fought at 154 only once in his lifetime, knocked out a guy who was also knocked out by Liam Parrow. So, I mean, it looks like a cherry pick that could go wrong. You imagine that? Imagine Keith Thurman beating Virgil Ortiz. That would be crazy.
Virgil Ortiz, I heard what you had to say, and I checked out some of that interview. I didn't check it out in its entirety, but I skimmed through it. And Virgil Ortiz had a lot to say there. And the one thing he can't say, he's not a world champion. Okay? You can talk about Xander all you want. Xander came in this game, and you've been in the game, Virgil, for a lot longer. You have a lot more fights than him. And he beat you to a world title fight. You had your opportunity. You just didn't want to fight Terrence Crawford. That's all. And although, Virgil, I can't hold this against you, because Virgil's team was honest. And when we asked the fighter to be honest, then I can no longer say. And Virgil's team, they came out and said they're not ready for Terrence. They're not ready for him. So when they said that, then what do you want me to do? If he's not ready for him, then they're acknowledging it's not like he's getting up all the time like he used to be, like, oh, I'll fight Terrence Crawford. I'll fight Terrence Crawford. Bullshit, you will. So you could say a lot about Xander, Virgil. You could take shots at him. But what you can't call yourself is a world champion. And although the WBC is putting in your head you're a champion, Virgil, what's the definition of any regular, interim, any title that's not the championship? What is this? What's the requirements? What's your title? What's it say? You have a piece of a world championship. You do not have full status as a world champion. So if you don't have full status and all you have is a piece, does that make you a world champion? No. But I'll tell you who is a world champion, Xander Zayes. So, fight fans, I'm going to leave you guys with that. We have a lot more to talk about and a lot to catch up to. Boxing Outcome, thank you for stopping in. Frontline, everybody in the chat, everybody that interacted, leave your comments in the chat. Let me know what you guys want to talk about and what big fights you guys want to see potentially in the future. And who do you feel is ducking who in this boxing world? Leave that in the comments. We'll meet up here again tomorrow. We will talk about all that and more here at Round One Sports Talk. Love yourselves. Have a good day. And I'll see you on the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. You guys have been the best. Peace. Boxing Outcome.